Hi again, everyone. Gary Digit Williams here on Beltway Boxing News and Notes here on Boxing Along the Beltway. And we're heard live on Spreaker.com. We're heard live on iHeartRadio.com. We're on Stitcher.com. And we just found out we're on the Google Podcast app. And so if you have the Google Podcast app, you can subscribe to this podcast, Boxing Along the Beltway, Beltway Boxing News and Notes, and on Boxing Along the Beltway. And we are redoing the Boxing Along the Beltway Google app for Android. So if you have it, it still works. But if you don't have it, we're in the process of trying to revamp that app. So a little bit of a difficulty with that. So hopefully we can do that very soon. But again, you can hear us. You can subscribe to the podcast on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com, Stitcher.com, and now the Google Podcast app. We're on that as well. So making waves here in the Beltway and around the country, around the world, as you can hear. Boxing on the Beltway, and again, all the news, the notes, the interviews, and of course the blow-by-blow action that'll be coming your way in the not too distant, and has continued to come your way, and is archived. A lot of it is archived, so you can hear it, and we'll have some new ones coming up very, very soon. This week, this week we're going to talk about a number of things. Great action took place as we record this last night in Cancun, Mexico. Also got some updates on some events that are taking place the rest of this weekend. And we take our first look into August, actually our second look, because we did mention a card that is coming up in August on the 18th at Maryland Live Casino. We did talk about that, but we have our first cards in August. And then next week, we'll give you the whole August schedule, because a lot of things are going on in the month of August. We'll give you that next week. Beltway Boxing News and Notes brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain, the muscle strain, and everything between, Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, there is a great event for jewelry on DeborahSpears.com, and also, and your first purchase of jewelry is 20% off, and shipping is free. And also, she has some great weight loss tips that you can eat real food and lose weight without dieting. So you can get all that from Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Well, of course, the big event that took place this past Friday night, yes, last night as we record this, took place at the Oasis Garden Hotel in Cancun, Mexico. And that's where Lamont Roach Jr., the Upper Marlboro, Maryland super featherweight, scored a dominating 7-round TKO over Davis Julio Basa of Colombia. And he won the WBO International Super Featherweight title on this card. It was a live event that took place on ESPN on the Golden Boy card. And Golden Boy's got a gem. There's no question about that. And when he's on, and he was on Friday night, Lamont Roach Jr. is a very, very talented boxer. And, he had that last bout against Orlando Cruz, and he kind of got robbed in that situation because, he got a knockdown that was not called a knockdown, and that led to the draw in that bout. But tonight, he took control. From the third round on, he was in complete control. The first 2 rounds were, I won't say feeling out processes, but both guys were trying to figure out where they were in the contest. But in the third round, my goodness, Roach used 2 straight right hands to Basa's head, and he dropped him to the canvas. He dropped him on his butt, basically. And then from there, throughout the rest of the bout, Roach Jr., he just used a large combination of power punches. He used a lot of punches to the body, and he kind of paid for that a little bit because he could get Basa was trying to retaliate. And ended up he was landing low blows on Roach, and one of them had to momentarily stop the bout. But he was dominant, no question about that. And by the time the 7th round came around, Basa could not answer the bell for that 7th round, and the bout was over. So congratulations to Lamont Roach Jr. He won his 2nd regional title in 2 years. Back in 2017, he won the WBC Youth Silver Super Featherweight crown. That was a knockout as well, if memory serves me correct. And now Roach Jr. is 17-0-1 with 7 KOs, and Bassa falls to 20 wins, 5 losses with 12 KOs. So congratulations once again to truly one of the shining stars in this Beltway region right now, and that is indeed Lamont Roach Jr. So congratulations to him as well on national television. I believe it's his 3rd time on national television, and Golden Boy seems to really enjoy him. And you look at the super featherweight division, of course, another one of our Beltway boxers, Gervonta Davis, is a champion in the super featherweight division, a WBA world champion. So that's kind of a possibility, maybe down the road. We'll see. But Lamont Roach Jr. definitely a shining star in the Beltway region right now. Now, before we get into what's going on this coming weekend, I want to talk about a card that took place this past Friday night at the Wynn Vegas Casino in Sloan, Iowa. Now, this is the card that was on Friday night as well. ESPN's show started around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the Showbox card started at 10 p.m. Eastern Time from Sloan, Iowa. And the only reason why I bring this up, there were no Beltway boxers on this card, but I want to say that the Beltway influence was a part of that. First of all, the matchmaker for the show is one of our great matchmakers, Chris Middendorf, and promoters, Chris Middendorf. And he had a couple of guys. Actually, he really had 4 guys on the card that had fought in the D.C. area before. Only 2 fought last night, I think, because they can't tell us about the other 2. But Jaron Boots Ennis was in the main event, and he's a shining star also. Now, this is a guy, as we've talked about before, he's fought twice in the Beltway region, and we did both his bouts, if memory serves correct. One was at the ABC Sports Complex. It's just his 3rd pro fight. He scored a first-round knockout. I believe he only need like 30 seconds to do that in his first bout. And then in another bout, that was in June of 2016. And then in August of 2017, he scored a first-round bout at the Howard Theater. First-round knockout there. So Jaron Ennis, we've known about him. Of course, we've known his whole family in this area because they've all fought here one time or another. His brothers, Derek Ennis, I've talked about his incredible bout against Maxwell the General Taylor at Michael's 8th Avenue for many years. Also, Farah Ennis has fought here, I think, once. So the Ennis family out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, they're very familiar with the Beltway, and we are very familiar with him, and we enjoy him, no question about that. But he won a dominating 3rd-round knockout in his main event bout on Friday night in Sloan, Iowa. Excuse me. And then Thomas Matisse out of Cleveland, Ohio. He got a gift last night, first of all. He got a gift Friday night. No question about that. That split decision win. But he fought his 2nd pro fight here at the D.C. Washington Convention Center. Scored a first-round knockout over Tyrone Wright back in January of 2015. So we didn't know about him as well. But again, he got a major league gift in the bout he had on Friday night in Sloan, Iowa. And that was co-feature there. A couple other boxers on that card. Zhang Zili was scheduled to be on that card. He fought here back on May of 2016. He scored a first-round TKO in that bout at DC Armory. That was the card between Dusty Hernandez-Harrison and Mike Dallas. Also, Demarni Rock made his pro debut in that very same card and scored a first-round knockout as well. So, again, Chris Middendorf, of course, being locally based, but he brought a lot of that influence into a major league card on Showbox this past Friday night. So congratulations to them. Just wanted to mention that. Again, our influence is all across the country. And that's one reason why we do this podcast. We know that influence is very prominent. Now, as far as Saturday night or tonight, as we record this, a number of boxers said to be in attendance, but be involved in some action this weekend. Devar Farhadi, we talked about, out of Frederick, Maryland. He returns in a 6-round contest against George Shepard of Newport News, Virginia. That'll be at the Caswell Civic Center in Yanceyville, North Carolina. We said Farhadi's 7-0, 6 KOs. He hasn't fought since August of 2016. Of course, he's been in his medical school studies in Kurdistan. He scored a 3rd-round knockout on August 2016 against Christopher Perry in Crystal City, Virginia. Meanwhile, Shepard is 1-3-1, coming off a 4-round majority draw over against Richard Williams on April 14th at the Masonic Temple in Norfolk, Virginia. So that bout's coming up in Yanceyville, North Carolina. Also in the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, DeMarcus Chop McCoy, the former WBO super lightweight champion, battling a rematch against former WBA super lightweight champion Visage Vivian Harris of Brooklyn, New York, by way of Guyana. That's a 12-round bout for the ABF Continental America super lightweight title. So we'll see what happens there. Corley, of course, 51-30-1, 28 KOs. Won a 10-round unanimous decision over Harris the first time they fought in Raleigh, North Carolina. Harris is 32-12-2, 19 KOs. Corley has fought 3 times since that last bout with Harris back in May of 2017, but Harris has not fought at all. So those are the bouts coming up on Saturday, July 21st. That's tonight. Of course, 1 week from tonight, Slick Nick Kisner takes on Scott Cujo Sigmund, who's now 32-12-1. He just won a bout recently. He scored a 7-round knockout in that last bout in Salem, Virginia. So we'll see what happens there. So that's Saturday, July 28th, coming up this week. Also coming up this Saturday tonight. Excuse me. Wills the Prophet Lockett is fighting, and he is taking on Lennox Too Sharp Allen out of New York by way of Guyana. That bout's at the Foxwoods in Mashantucket, Connecticut. It's a 6-round bout. Wills the Prophet Lockett is 16-23-6 with 5 KOs. He lost a 6-round majority decision to Joel De La Paz on June 1st at the Showboat Hotel and Casino in Lansing, New Jersey. Lennox Allen is 20-0-1 with 13 KOs. He actually fought in this area a while back. He fought on a card back in 2000 and I believe it was 10 in this area. No, I'm sorry. My mistake. His last bout was his last time and was a fight in the area. And that was on October of 2015. That was on the Lamont Peterson, Julio Diaz card, and also the Pitcher Cologne Terrell Williams card. That was at the Eagle Bank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia. He won a 2nd-round TKO, and that is indeed his last bout up until this bout against Wills Lockett. So we'll see what happens there. Lennox Allen, as we said, 20-0-1 with 13 KOs. So we'll see what happens coming up. That is tonight at the Foxwoods in Mashantucket, Connecticut. Now, real quick, take our first look in August, and of course, we have a big couple events coming up in August. Of course, we talked about August 18th at the Maryland Live Casino, and that is when the card featuring, scheduled feature Dusty Hernandez Harrison and his bout, Sam Crossett, Francisco Bustos. Although I am hearing now, and I can't go into it too much further than this, there are a lot of changes that are happening with that card. That card may not be the same in about a week or so. So as soon as we make those official, we'll get those events to you. However, first card in August will be on Saturday, August the 4th, and that'll be at the Dulles Sportsplex in Sterling, Virginia. That'll be a Ponytail Promotions card, and it's going to be a relatively short card. Tori Nelson scheduled to be the headline on that card. Tori Shonuff Nelson, 17-2-3 with 2 KOs. Also, Jerry Slug Forrest scheduled to be on that card out of Newport News, Virginia. The local boxers are Seth Killer B. Billups, Mac Poppy Allison IV, Carlos Refused to Lose Cruz, all on that card coming up on Saturday, August 4th. Now, there'll be no coverage of that card as far as the play-by-play for that card. There are 3 reasons why that's the case. Number one, the last time we were at the Dulles Sportsplex, the Wi-Fi wasn't all that great to begin with. So we didn't have an opportunity to really do something there. So that's the first reason. Second reason, my broadcast partner, Juan Marshall, will not be able to be at that event. He's got an event of his own with his family that he will be out for that. So he will not be there. So that's the second reason. And the third reason is yours truly will be the ring announcer for that card. Apparently Tori Nelson likes the way I do. I have done ring announcing in the past off and on. But Tori Nelson likes the way I do it, so he wants me to be her ring announcer for her event, and it's going to be for the entire card. So I'll be in my tuxedo that night on Saturday, August 4th at the Dulles Sportsplex. So as soon as we get some matchups for that, hopefully in the next week or so, we'll give you some matchups for that card and give you a full preview of that card. That's on Saturday, August 4th at the Dulles Sportsplex in Sterling, Virginia. Also on Saturday, August 4th, there's a card that's taking place at what is now known as NYCB Live, the home of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Long Island, New York. I don't know what that means, but be that as it may, that's what it's called now, the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. I know about a year or so ago, they revamped that facility. Now, for years, it was a great facility. It was the home for many years of the New York Islanders, especially during their heyday when they won those 4 Stanley Cups. I believe the New York Nets in the ABA played there. I believe they did. And so that's where it is now. They revamped that facility. It is now known as NYCB Live. I don't even know what NYCB stands for. New York something or other. Home of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Well, on that card, there's a card that'll be on, actually, the main card will be live on Fox Network, the main part of the card. And that's going to be Andre Berto versus Devin Alexander and Peter Quinlan versus J. Leon Love. And I believe those are, I think one is both of them are not, none of them are world championship bouts, but one is they're all former world champions because Andre Berto is a former world champion, as is Peter Quinlan. And actually, Devin Alexander is also a former world champion as well. The only one that's not a former world champion is J. Leon Love. Now, there'll be a special edition of Premier Boxing Champions. That'll be on FS2 and Fox Deportes. Not FS1, but FS2 and Fox Deportes. That'll take place at 5:30 p.m. and scheduled to be on that card. One on the television aspect of the card is indeed Antoine Russell out of Capitol Heights, Maryland, the unbeaten 2016 U.S. Olympian. Antoine Russell, 6-0, 6 KOs. He's scheduled to take on Jose Arturo Esquivel. He's a 10-7 with 2 KOs. So that's Antoine Russell taking on Jose Arturo Esquivel on that card. And also, if there's time permitting on the telecast, which is scheduled to begin at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Antonio Russell will be on the card in an 8-round bantamweight fight. And Antonio Russell, of course, 11-0, 9 KOs, scheduled to be on that card. So those are the co-features on that card. The main event on the FS2 broadcast is scheduled to be Marcus Brown against Lenin Castillo. Unbeaten light heavyweight contender Marcus Brown, who knocked out Thomas Top Dog Williams Jr. A few months ago. That's on that card. And also a welterweight fight between Luis Collazo, former world champion, and Bryant Perella. Bryant Perella knocked out David Grayton a few months back. So that's the card there. And that's going to be on Saturday, August 4th. Again, the co-feature bout, I guess the FS2 Fox Deportes card will be at 5:30 p.m. Antoine Russell scheduled to be on the card. Antonio Russell might be on the card on that particular event coming up on Saturday, August the 4th. So that should be an interesting situation so far. And again, we'll kick off what should be a very interesting August coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll give you a full preview about that next week because we have a number of boxers around the country who will be involved in action, both here and outside the area. So that will do it for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes. Remember, the Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing Along the Beltway podcast is brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, you have great jewelry and great weight loss tips by going to Deborah, Debra Spears.com. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And always remember, keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the Boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.